gave her an example about one of my coworkers. One of my attorneys, he would always see me and he was like, "Hey, Zena, you always look so nice." He said, "But you look extra nice today." So it was me and a few more ladies standing up about one of my coworkers. And when he said that, something, that intuition or the
What did
spirit,
he say?
he just told me how nice I looked that day. But he said I always look nice, right? So it was more like exceptionally nice that day.
Uh-huh.
So something just said, look to your right. And when I turned and looked to the right, my other coworker that I hang out with at the job, if you would have saw her face, and so I said, "What's that face about?" And I said, "Also, your mind didn't catch up to what your
What
face
your
was doing,
face was
right?"
saying.
Right? And I said, and I did this too. I said, "Hi, I'm Zena. Who are you? Let me reintroduce myself because I needed to know who that person was."
Oh,
I
but you
went
did it
to
so eloquently. I love
right.
that.
I'm like, let me reintroduce myself. Who are you?
Yeah.
And she was looking all baffled, right? No,
Yeah.
who is this person here? I want to get to know this one right here too. So yeah, and we just talked, and I really appreciate your lectures. I really do because I'm the type of person too. I like how the mind works. I've always been that type
I
of
love
person.
that.
I like how the mind works. And another example, you know how we're so quick to judge, or
Yeah.
we used to be so quick to judge, and
No, some
sometimes,
people are still quick to judge.
yeah,
You can go.
right. And so I was driving, and I was dropping off a person, and you know how you see homeless people, right?
Yeah.
So he was on the corner, and I was like, okay, let me give him some money. So I was just giving him like a little 20. And
Yeah.
my friend that was sitting over there in the car was like, "You're gonna give him that? You don't know what he's gonna do with that." I said, "Well, when you give it from your heart, it doesn't matter. What they probably going to buy some crack or some a beer." I said, "Have you ever thought maybe they need that? They may need that crack." I said, "You don't know that person's situation. A lot of people have that, that residual, the traumatic, the generational curses. We
Yeah.
don't know why this person is out on the street.
Right.
Something could have happened to that person as a child.
Yeah.
And the only way they had to deal with it was through a drug or something to drink or whatever." I said, "They may feel safest out here on the street versus being in the house." So, and my daughter. So I got together some things the other day, and I said, "Okay, let me take just yesterday, this she and I's conversation."
Yeah.
Uh, I said, "Oh well, I purged my closet again. I have a few bags. I'm gonna take it to Goodwill." And she was like, "Mom, you know how I feel about Goodwill."
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, yeah, I know." It used to be supposedly supposed to be not for profit. I said, "All they're really profiting off of it now." I said again, but when you give it from your heart, it doesn't matter. And I was trying to, you have to just tell people when you give stuff from your heart, it doesn't matter what you do with it because you had the right intention. And when I give, and I give anyway, right? So I said it's in the back of my trunk, and I'm gonna take it over there. And it doesn't matter what they do with it. She's like, "Mama, all the little thrift stores and all this, they're going up." And I said, "And look at this economy, look at this world. Look what we're living in." I said, "This president want you either poor or you rich. It's no in between." I said, "He want us to depend on them. They want to buy up everything. They're going to try to take over neighborhoods again and really try to put us back in slavery." But
So
what?
the notion what you said that you decided it doesn't matter what other people think or say if that's what your the spirit I call it, right, your
Right.
higher being, if that's what it's telling you to do, then do that, right? Because if you do it on anybody else's time or dime, then you're not doing it for you, right? You're not doing it for the
Right.
whatever's moving you. And I had that happen to me quite a few times as well.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, if it's telling you to do it and this is what you want to do and stop and give them that, you said you stopped and you give them $20. I know a lot of people that would frown on that so
And
loud.
that's what it was. I had, so you might have it at the time. What is that $20? I'll probably get it back in tenfold, right?
Ooh,
I'll get it back in tenfold. It's
yeah,
not what.
because that's
So
what he said. That's what he said, right?
I'll get it back one way or another. I'll get it back. I'll
Yeah,
get it back.
a hundred
But
percent.
I don't let anybody dictate what I do. I've always had that like leader. I've never been that follower. I've
The
always been
follower.
a, yes, I've been a
Mm,
strong person, and
are you
sometimes
a leader?
some people take that strongness sometimes to be what kind of overbearing, but I'm just a strong person, and my opinion is my opinion. It's not set in stone, but it's
Right,
my opinion.
right.
So,
Agreed. I'm so happy that you got on here this morning and kind of shared that the value that you are getting from these conversations, because I think these conversations, a lot of these conversations that what we've been talking about all this time is that
mhm,
it happens in our everyday and it happens
every
a
day.
lot up here in our mind. And we go home and say to the wrong person, and then they don't understand on how to communicate or how to help you. And sometimes you don't even need them to fix the problem. You just need them to hear you out.
You
And
want
that's
the
it.
sounding board, and
A
that's what it
sounding
is. You want
exactly.
someone, sometimes I might call you and say, Dr. Dale, now if I say, what do you think about this? Then I'm asking you for your opinion, but sometimes I'm like, I want to just vent and I don't want that feedback. I just want to get it out because pressure bursts a pipe. They
Oh,
always say that.
say
Get
that
it out.
again. Pressure
Pressure
what?
bursts a pipe. So
Pressure
you have
bursts
to
the
get
pipe.
it
I
out.
love that.
You have to get it out. And even like in relationships, Dr. Dale, I used to my last one, and I haven't been in a relationship in some years now. But I used to tell him because he was a cheater. And I'm a good person. Everybody say they're a good person. I'm a good person. I
Yeah.
don't
At least
cheat.
you're not cheating, right? You're not
I
cheating.
don't cheat. I promise you. And he told my mom that he was like, one thing I can say, I know she don't cheat. When I'm with you, right? He
Right.
was notorious for cheating. And my mom made this comment and it hurt my feelings, right?
Uh-huh.
She was like, that old way of thinking.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh, that's a good man and he's a provider and this, that. I said, Mama, I don't care. I said, I'd rather be happy in a hut than miserable in a mansion. I would rather be happy in a hut than miserable in a mansion.
Yeah.
And that's just how I feel, right?
Right.
Because and he's my daughter's father. He's
Yeah.
self-made millionaire. When I
Yeah.
say this, he was into the mobile meat, where he
Yeah.
go to your house, but he was a notorious cheater. And I'm all like I say, I'm there standing on business. He just couldn't get. But when my mom said that, she was like, "Oh, if you
Yeah,
oh,
because she's looking at the old the as long as he can provide a roof over your head, food
but
on
I
your
can do that.
table.
But I can do that. But I can do. This is what she said. I didn't tell you. She said, Zena, if you just shut your mouth. I'm like, I've never been that person.
Yeah. So I
You
don't know
know,
which daughter you're talking
that's a
to.
good man. But a lot like and not to put my sister business out. And she used to say that about my older sister. And this guy, my sister was in DV. And we didn't know it, right? And I remember she was pregnant and I was younger. And I remember I was in my mom's living room
Yeah.
and they came into the house. And so, you know how you turn around, you're like, hey, what y'all doing here? So I kind of turned back doing what I was doing. And as we were talking, I turned back around. My sister was 8 months pregnant and my sister had a black eye, right? And
Mm.
when I turned around, my brother was in the back. And when I turned around,
Who
I
gave
said,
her the black eye?
did you hit my sister? I'm off the charts now.
Right, right, right.
So my other brother ran out. So, it was a ruckus. And she was like, no. I said, you stop taking up for this man. And that's when I found out that, so he, you know how they have good looking, I live in Houston. So he was going to Texas Southern University to be an attorney, right? School of Thurgood Marshall. Good looking, good job. Da, da, da. Them be the ones that do the most.
Yes, Taylor, welcome for those that are
Hi,
live here
Taylor.
with, with us here on TikTok. You guys caught us mid conversation with Zena. She got us started this morning. She started with this. I wanted us to share this scenario that you just shared because I think this is a really great kicking off. So, welcome you guys to the fifth week of um, unlocking your leadership potential with emotional intelligence, right?
Right.
So for those that signed up, you guys signed up through the HillmanTok University. Those that are
Love
in
it.
the inner circle in the Zoom, and then those that are live because Hillman Talk started on TikTok. So that's why we're here to make sure we give back value, right, to you guys.
Right.
So the the scenario that Zena started with this morning was that she mentioned a coworker gave her a compliment, and a gentleman at work gave her a compliment, and she was really she was feeling good when he gave that compliment, but then something told her to look to the left or to the right, and she saw someone with a stink eye
Yeah.
would giving her the eye. And when they heard that compliment, and Zena did not shy away from it. She leaned in. She's like, "Well, hi, hello, my name is, and who are you?"
Yeah. Right.
She leaned into that. And you want to say anything before we kind of move on from that, Zena, about that?
No, no, just to sum it up, as she said, we were all me and a few other ladies, we were standing in the hallways in front of my office. And one of my attorneys, he was passing by, and I guess I looked extra nice, and he said, "Hi,
You look
Ziggy."
good every day.
He said, "You look good all the time." He said, "But he liked my outfit, and at that it was like a bright yellow. It was really a pretty yellow dress, and
Oh,
then
so
I
there's
had."
like mustard. Oh yeah,
Yeah, it was a very, so
we look
it
good in
stood out.
mustard.
So it stood out. And then he just gave me a compliment. And one of the ladies that I go to lunch with all the time or whatever, we hang out, we in each other's offices. And I something just said, turn to your right. And when I looked, she had this really frown, her face was just frowned up. And
Right.
I asked her what was that frown about. And she was like,
Oh
huh?
wow.
And I was like, oh, your brain hadn't caught up with your face. You know, you didn't realize what you were doing. And so I just went, hi, I'm Zena. Let me reintroduce myself. And you are? Because I wanted to know who that second person was.
Right.
Because, they always say sometimes people have dual people inside of them.
Right.
I needed to know who this person was, and I need to know what I was dealing
And
with.
did she reply to you?
She was like, "Oh, girl, but I put stuff in the back of my head, note to self,
Right.
watch this one." And you know how you think you got you a good work buddy? And one of my old professors told me, if you want to do anything, stop telling people, anybody, because like I was telling you, a lot of people have a lot of underlying hate, and
Right.
they be in your circle.
Yeah.
And they don't want to leave that circle because they need something from you. So
Mm.
that
Um.
so you
It,
have to be you just have to, hopefully you have that discerning feeling. If it doesn't feel right in your stomach, in your gut
right.
about certain things, go with that. Kind of go with that. So
Oh, so Zena got us started this morning because you guys know we're talking about relationship management. And I think that was great. That was a great intro, Michelle. We talking about, people that
me
you have in
too.
your circle. Welcome, Michelle. Welcome those that are live here on TikTok. Those that you have in your circle that you don't know or you think they're for you, but in reality, they're stab you in the back. Right? So I don't give the whatever energy people give me. I try not to feed into it because if you do, then you can really go down the black hole. Right? And you can really get into some stuff, and that's just not who I am, or that's not the values that I share and what I want to carry into the future, right? because what you give is what you will get. I don't care how you put it, right? And I don't need anything extra catching up to me. I don't need any extra negative energy catching up to me. I just needed to be I said I don't need to add when I was in high school, I said no, I'm not going to go skip school and go drink because I don't need because I was a Christian girl, right? I don't need any negative points added to heaven. If I'm gonna do get any extra negative points added to heaven, it's gonna be on my account, not because you are trying to coax me into
Right.
going to anything that I don't want to be a part of. You know what I mean? So thank you for for that conversation, for that energy, for that talk, Zena. I really, really, really appreciate it. It was definitely for me, and I love the reminders that you always have to remind yourself that whose you are around, where you are around, and who your circles, right? I think I want to start this morning with the quote by Carl Jung. It says, "Until you can make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Right? So it means that if you are not aware of how the your subconscious, your motivations, your patterns, the people you have around, if you don't get ahead of them and get it, get um be aware of what is happening, they will unknowingly control your behavior and your choices, and you will call the results of all of that fate, destiny. Oh, that's my destiny, that's my fate, that's what I'm supposed to do because that's where the direction she's going in and I want to follow her, so I'm going to go in that direction. What is the direction that your higher being, and I say, when I say a higher being, is whatever God you believe in, whatever higher power you believe in. I believe in the Lord Savior Jesus Christ. So that's my higher being. So what is your higher being calling you, direction they're calling you in, right? This week, we're this fifth week, and next week is our last week. We've been 5 weeks, coming in here. And this week we're bringing it all together, right? Because we talked about the self-awareness, we talked about, which is all about you understanding your weakness and your strengths. And then we talked about self-management or self-regulation, which is controlling your emotions and how you show up. And then we talked about empathy, right? You're, reading the room. And now we're going to put that all together and put it into some action, right? In our everyday interaction, because EQ isn't just about how you feel, it's how do you lead people through how they feel. So now we talked about us, and we kind of have an idea of where we stand from an EQ standpoint. Now we got to go take what we have gotten and turn that around and help others, right? How we interact with other people. And that goes with, of course, relationship management is communication, resolving conflicts, building meaningful relationships. You want to have meaningful relationships, meaning your relationships are not just transactional. Transactional meaning you just come, you give me this, I only call you when I need this, and that's all, right? You don't want that kind of relationship. Hi, Michelle, so beautiful as usual. You guys be showing up, I'm telling you. So you want to make sure that your relationships that you have in your life are meaningful, right? And to Zena's point, know the people that you have around you. And then, of course, in the end, aspiring how you show up in those relationships, right? I think we're going more and more towards, and we're in an era where subconscious awareness, and that we're not only dealing with the tangible things, the physical things. We're dealing a lot with what's going on the inside, right? I think since COVID, everybody's been that job doesn't make me happy, so I'm leaving, right? Whether they had another job or not, they're like, yeah, this total awakening, I'm out, and I'll figure it out later. Right? Some people ended up back at their mom's house, and that's fine because now you know what doesn't make you happy. That right there, that energy, that environment doesn't make me happy, right? That relationship there doesn't make me happy. So I am out, right? So now you're looking, there's a lot of looking in, right? And we learn in this course that as leaders, we have to look in to move forward, right? Because leadership with emotional intelligence, you lead inside out, meaning you check in with you first before you decide to lead other people, right? If you don't know where you stand, there's no way in this world that you can help direct other people, or you shouldn't direct other people because you don't know where you stand. You're standing on shaky ground, right? So here's the first block of conversation that we're going to have, right? Is what is relationship management? Relationship management is, of course, the ability to be able to use your awareness of your own emotions and others' emotion to kind of navigate how you interact. And then you end up building trust, right? So people, of course, that we know that quote by Maya Angelou that says people may forget what you said, right? But they will never forget how you made them feel. And feel is emotions, because we already know to be human is to be with emotions, right? So that quote by Maya Angelou is not about being perfect, right? You don't have to show up perfectly, right? It's about being intentional, right? Intentional. I intentionally going to wake up this morning and I'm going to set my intentions, meaning I am going to set that no matter what happens today, I am going to show myself grace. And what does that look like? That means that when something goes wrong, that I have this plan, but if this plan doesn't go perfectly, I am going to remember that it's okay. And I'm going to be flexible, right? I'm going to be flexible and I'm going to give myself and the person that I'm dealing with, whatever, I'm going to give them grace, right? And make sure that though I like things to go the way I need because I planned it this way, and if it doesn't always go that way, you need to just remember that it's okay. It's okay, but you have to set that intention the minute you wake up in the morning by checking in with yourself. Today is going to be a great day. I intend for this day to go well. I have this meeting. When I show up to this meeting, is gonna, like, I play one of my secret weapons is, apart from checking in with myself, I play the day in my head. You know that they say visualization. I visualize how I want my day to go. So visualize. I know there's doom and gloom all around you in the world, right? But you decide how you want to show up, right? Because the world is always going to do what the world does, and people are going to always do what people do, right? So you have to decide for you. I don't need to go on a vacation to live a great life. I can live a great life every day intentionally, right? I don't need to be on a beach somewhere to be like, right? And then show up. I can do that right now. And you and I both know to have a life, to have a life in peace, like a peace of mind, that's that's gosh darn priceless. You know, you can be in your own space, in your own house, in your own, you can just be, and you don't need to like pretend and, hide in how you feel. And Jesus, it's exhausting. It's exhausting, especially if you're in a relationship that doesn't add value to you, right? It's exhausting. So when you finally get to the point where you can accept yourself, good, bad, and different, whatever it is, this is me. I am doing the best that I can. And when I fall short of that a lot of days, which is going to happen, I'm going to remember to give myself grace. Yeah, I'm going to give myself grace. I'm going to take it slow. I'm going to tell myself that, yeah, I missed that deadline. I don't know how I missed that deadline. Gosh, darn it. I'm so pissed off right now. And you start punching things and you're mad and then you lash out at this person and then you remember. Dr. Dale said to give myself some grace. All right, I'm okay. It's fine. I can call him. I can push the date back. I have everything I need. I just need to get this. And so you start slowly working it back, right? Calming yourself down. It's okay. You if you miss that deadline, it's not because you're a failure. It's just that that project wasn't a priority. So what made you miss it, right? So then you start tackling it. You tackle, I always told my managers, since I'm in HR, right? I always tell my managers, don't tackle the person that made the mistake, tackle the problem, right? So the way you tackle the problem is how do we make sure that this doesn't happen again? Not how do you, right? Because you're a leader of people. So we, let's do this together, right? And help that person. What plans do you think you can come up with to make sure this doesn't happen again? Like, let's start brainstorming some ideas together, right? So that person feels supported. And so that next time they make a mistake, because it's going to happen again, the question is, are they going to feel comfortable enough to come with you and say it, or are they not? There are five. I had someone on my podcast, a friend of mine, Andrea Carter. She works at a university over there in Australia, I think. And she talks about belonging, and belonging has five indicators. And those five indicators of belonging is comfort. Does the person feel at ease? Do they feel seen when they're in your presence? Do they, the second one is connection. Do they feel connected to you or to the group or to the department? And can they contribute? Is their work, do they know that the work that they're contributing is making a difference in blank, right? In the company, in their relationship. And number four, psychology. Can they speak up safely and not feel like you're gonna chop off their head when they make a mistake? Right? And lastly, well-being. Do they feel like they can they feel like they're in a safe space where you are, where they are, right? Overall. So great leaders don't avoid conflicts. They learn how to move through it with emotional maturity. So don't run away from conflict. And so the first tool that that I'm going to give is, we're going to improve. The first tool to relationship management is improving communication, right? And conflict resolution. And the best way to do that is that we learned last week that we listen to not only understand, but we listen to be able to reply, and we listen to see what's the energy and the emphasis on the words and how they're moving. We give our entire being to what that person is saying, and then we can emotionally intelligently respond, right? We pause before reacting. We know that conflict isn't the enemy. It's not the enemy. Just because conflict happened, it's avoidance is the enemy. If you want to pretend that that conflict didn't happen, that's you avoiding it. And that is where the real problem comes in, right? So the first tool is a three simple step process, which you probably already do, but this is where it gets muddy. The three step model is: acknowledge the emotions, yours and theirs. You ask clarifying questions, and then you collaborate on how we're going to move forward how we're going to move going forward, right? So for example, I notice some tension after the meeting, and I want to make sure that we're on the same page, that we are aligned. Can we set a meeting to talk through those points? Right? You notice something, you're not ignoring it, you're addressing it, right? Because if you ignore it, you pretend it's not there, then it's going to fester, right? And then it's going to come out when you don't need it to come out. Sheba, you're fine. You're fine. You're completely fine. You're here now. You're here now. So that's what matters. So this is a simple step, but here's where it gets a little muddy, right? Easier said than done. Dr. Dale, you said ask, acknowledge that. I said acknowledge the emotions, yours and theirs. And that's where it gets a little muddy on that first step. Michelle is shaking her head because it's easier said than done, right? You got to acknowledge that just because you feel this way, you got to also acknowledge that they feel whatever way they feel. You may not want to do that all the time, right? So it sounds simple, but it sounds simple, but the how you respond. How are you feeling about? Because think about it. How whatever the situation is, how you're feeling about the person in that particular time, in that particular situation, makes a big difference. It makes a big difference, right? But if you are already pissed off right before you got into that meeting, what do you think is going to happen? You don't want to hear nothing. You just want them to do what I tell you to do so we can move out of this meeting because I got stuff to do. I'm laughing because, oh my gosh, I've been there so many days. And I mentioned this already. I mean, let me mention it again because this is real, right? It's really real. It's real. It is life, right? I when I'm short on time, when I'm short on time and I have a lot to do, I get very curt. I get short. I don't have time for all of the extra, and I just get go straight for it, right? And I noticed that about myself. So what I decided to do is that I make sure that I prepare. And right, and I prepare space. I kind of, like I said, I play out my day, and this is how I'm doing it now. This is not how I used to do it before. I didn't do anything, I just showed up, right? But now I leave room for humanity to kick in. So the first, I don't come in, if I'm a leader of a meeting, I don't come in saying, this is what I want you guys to do, right? If it's a brand new project, I said, hey, we have a project coming up and I want some ideas. Here's what we need to do. Tell me what you guys think, how we can best approach this or get this done, right? And then I want their input, right? So I'm just sitting there just chilling. Instead of me coming up and telling them what to do, it's easier for me now, I understand, to kind of delegate, right? Like, hey, let me just give you guys some leeway. And because the more people feel like they're in charge of what they're doing, the more they will feel like they're in charge of what they're doing. And that sounds like a lot, but that is exactly how it is. If people don't have a choice in how they show up in their day to day, in their work, then they don't feel like they're contributing, like it's for them, right? So you got to give them that. I give them as much of that rope as you can. I'm like, hey, and I make sure I tell them like, hey, I'm trusting you with this, so if it doesn't go right. And you're not paying attention and you're not being diligent and you're not doing your research or you're not really putting in your effort, then this is going to kind of put a damper on how we move forward in me trusting you at projects like this. And then they're like, oh, so she knows that she's trusting me, so they feel extra like, oh, okay, I'm gonna show her, da 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 da, and they go that extra mile, right? Is that psychology? That's the psychology behind it all, right? So acknowledge the emotions of the person, yours and theirs. Ask those clarifying questions. You think you may know the answer, and you may know the answer as the leader, but it's not your job to give them the answer. It's your job to show them the answer, right? And that what that looks like is letting them come up with the answers themselves, because people have the answers. People want to think, but you got to give them room to think and come up with their own responses. Like I stopped doing. I used to be like, I guess I told you guys I was a micromanager all day. That was me. But that's not the case. That's not how it's done, right? And and for me, I hated it when I had people, leaders that are managers or bosses that would look over my shoulder. And that I'm not only talking about looking over your shoulder, like constantly checking in on you. I mean, I had managers that would stand right behind me and watch what I was doing, and I hated it. And now I like that's like a little trigger for me. I'm like, even when the husband passes by, I'm like, what are you standing? What are you standing there for? Go. I don't like people standing behind me. You see how these things in life and experiences can just unlock so much. Michelle, definitely share if you want to share.
So I just have a question for you, actually. What do you do when you have somebody that their answer is always, I don't know, when you're asking for them to contribute or how they think that the problem can be solved? Because it's one thing when they come up with an answer, right? That's
Mhm.
the easy person. But what do you do when they just give you the I don't know over and over again?
How is this in a group,
Even one-on-one.
one-on-ones? And so then let them ask them. So you see, if you're on one-on-one with them and you're sitting down and you ask them like, what do you think happened with this year? What do you think we can do or whatever? And you're like, I don't know, I don't know. We're like, I'm asking you. So we're gonna sit here. You need to come up with an answer. If you don't know, I'm gonna give you time so that you can know. So whatever, after this meeting, I need you to take 30 minutes, time them because they can pretend like they're doing it all day. I need you to take 30 minutes and even let's meet again this afternoon. And I need you to find out. I need you to come up with an answer because this is a part of your responsibility. And I'm gonna help you, right? I want you to so and then so that's one part, right? And then the other part is let's say they come to that meeting and they didn't do anything, they don't know. Why? Right? And then you go a little deeper. And sometimes remember we said we gotta either coach people up or out. So now you're getting a little, why don't you know? You don't want to know? And
Hmm.
let's sit there and not let it sit, let that quietness sit there because people get very uncomfortable in silence.
Hmm.
They get very uncomfortable in that why? Let me put the timer on here. Let me give you a minute to kind of think about that.
Hmm.
And I sit there and I stare at her. Oh, you want me to think about it now? Yeah, this is what the time is for. Yeah, we can. This, I'm here for you. Oh God, I can't try this. I don't know stuff anymore. Michelle is serious. She wants me to think. Yeah. And this is why I want you to think, right? And this is why, because you are part of the team. And I care about your position. I care about you. And I want to make sure that your what does your development plan look like? So, right? So if it's not, you're talking about the job and why they don't know, right? You try to get deeper there, and then you go in the extra mile. Why don't you know? Do you care about this role? Do you care about what you do here? Because I care about you and I want you to grow, right? And so do you care about you? Because if you don't care about you, no matter what I do, don't matter. Right. So you're getting a little you're going deeper and then now they have to come up because now you're going beyond the a leader, you're going beyond the role and you're going to the person.
Hmm.
And then you let them, right? So now, okay, so you don't care about the job and you don't care about this particular project. That means you don't care about your team. You don't care about pulling your own weight. You don't you don't have a goal for your life, for your career, what you want to do. If it's not with this company, then what is it? What would you like to do?
Hmm.
Oh, you're going far. And you don't have to answer any of those. You're
Right.
asking them, right? And there is this, and if you remind me later, there is this three, gosh, I can't even put my hand on it right now because I had it like last week. There's this 3 question process that you can ask people. One thing people care about, and one thing people care about as it relates to human beings, is that they want to show up. They want to do what makes them happy, right? So I'm going to share this model with you that I just came out of this mastermind that they shared that starts with them and their goals that leads to the job that they're doing. And I'm going to share that with you. Just remind me I can share it with you. And you can start that with her and see how that goes or him. I hope that helped. It did?
Sorry, I was trying to unmute. Yes, thank you.
Okay. And those hard ones. And I had this VP that said she came into the first session, this executive coaching session that I was doing with her, and she said the first sentence she said when she sat down, she's like, "I am so tired of leading lazy people." And I said, so by the end of the 2 months, it wasn't the fact that these people were lazy. It was that there was a trust gap, right? And how they perceived what they perceived was laziness. Once we got into the minutiae and the details of something, right? Whatever she was sharing. So check your perception and then really pay attention to the person. Like, check them out, not only in the meetings, like point blank, like really give them an assessment, check them out, analyze them, and what are they doing? What are they not doing? Why aren't they doing it? Right? Because oh, I see that they light up when that happens. Oh, so they like stuff like that. Note. So you do like a week or two assessment and just checking them out, try to understand them. And then here's what I noticed. And then you bring that to them, because then you're showing that you're invested, right? You really invested. Man, she's really paying attention. Yeah, because we got stuff to do in this department. And I'm the leader, and you're not gonna make me look bad. That's all I used to say all the time. I said, you're not gonna make me look bad. So I'm gonna help you so you can help me, and we can help the department and then help the company. So building positive high trust relationships. Relationships are built through emotional deposits. They're not built on cash. They're not built on being rude and disrespectful. Relationships are built on emotional deposits, which means kindness, which means consistency, which means listening, which means apologizing. Your emotional energy matters. People feel how you enter the room. Think about that one time Zena mentioned her. She's like, I felt some energy coming over here. And she looked back and she saw where that energy was coming from. How do people feel after they talk to you? I don't know, Dr. Dale. I don't care. Well, if you don't care, how many people have left your department? Do you care now? How many people have left your department in the past 90 days? Right? Do people feel seen, safe, and supported around you? So here's a question. Here's an engagement question for you guys. Are you direct or indirect? Let me know, you guys. You can on definitely direct, Michelle said. Zena, I feel like you're direct as well. What about you, Taylor? You guys are all direct. I wasn't direct before. I kind of sometimes. She was like sometimes. Who's here on the iPhone? Can you guys let me know? Because I have no idea. Because it just says iPhone. Okay, so so now that you know that, you kind of know your communication style. Yeah, I just need you guys, and how since you're direct, you tend to want people to be direct with you as well, right? But that's not how people are. Right? Some people are all over the place.
Can they just get to the point? I got things to do.
Like, are you guys done yet? Like, oh. Are you guys assertive or reserved?
I think I'm more assertive with I can be a little reserved, but I think I'm more assertive. I'm like Michelle. I want to get to the point. All that beating around the bush and running around the corner, and then you come to it. No, just let's talk about it, get it over with. Yeah.
So Taylor says both at different times, depending on what it is. I guess you're saying, right? Depending on what it is. Sheba's like definitely reserve. So you're reserved. So emotionally expressive or more controlled. Something happens. Do you like, she did that. I can't control how I'm feeling about it. Or he did that. I'm going to scratch his car. Are you expressive? Because I wouldn't say I'm expressive to that point. What it is that I don't have a poker face. So if I feel some type of way about whatever, and even though I may have the poker face, I'm not the type of person I was. It was easier for me to be quiet than to say. Right? I'm like, yeah, let me just let that go.
Yeah.
And then
You have to pick your battles. You have to pick your battles.
yes, yes. But then we lean, and I think a lot of minority women lean more towards not saying a lot of things that they should say when they should say it, right? And then they let that go, and then they let that go, and then they keep letting it go. Right? And then what happens, I know quite a few people like this, they wait until they can't take it no more, and
Yeah,
then they blow up.
it festers. It festers. And
What did
remember
you say
what I
about the
said
pipe?
earlier?
What's the quote you said about the
I said pressure bursts a pipe. So when they hold it in and then all of a sudden it's kaboom versus kind of getting it out. And I already, like I was telling you about my relationship, I was like, you're not gonna get me sick. I'm not gonna. So yeah, everything is coming out. It's coming out. No strokes over here because I decided not to talk to you. No, we talking about it or I'm talking about it.
So I'm gonna force you to talk about it. Yeah, it's gonna be uncomfortable for a minute, but we're gonna get over that hump. We're gonna get over that hump. So Michelle puts emotionally expressive. I tend to keep my camera off on Zoom calls. Yes.
I can't control my face. I might control my mouth, but I can't control my face.
That's what Zena said. She said that girl's how she felt didn't catch up to what her face was saying. Right? I mean, your face is a chore. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Like, did he just say that? Like, yes, you got to choose your battles very wisely. Otherwise, you be up in these streets just like all day. Really? Really? So self-awareness and your communication style. See, now that you know somewhat how you communicate, you want to be more direct, you want to be more assertive or reserve how you communicate. Other people have preferences. Other people have preferences as well, right? And because other people have preferences, you got to make sure that you leave room for them to express how they feel, what their style is, right?
I think your
There's
recording stopped. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Oh, did it say that?
Yeah, there it
Okay.
is.
And then there's something else. I remember this gentleman that I used to work with. I was trying to, I guess I seemed very supportive, and he would come and share whatever personal matter was happening in his house. And I said, let me stop you right there. I said, does this have anything to do with your job? No, it just said, I'm letting you know the reason why I can't show up tomorrow. I said, don't need all that extra. It was a lot. I was like, no, 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 it's okay. We're good. You just, now that you're letting me know, we know that you're not going to be here. I don't need to know that your wife and the stuff that's happening with the kids and the grandma. I'm like, everybody's safe and good. You just need to take something with the car. I said, I don't need to know all the extra stuff. It's okay. It's all good. Right? Because I noticed that it happened one time. He kept on oversharing. It happened twice, and it happened 3 times, and 4 times. And I said, okay, let me let you know how we're going to communicate going forward. Right? This is what I need from you, and this is what I need from you. And is this okay? Do you need to? No, I was just making sure that I needed to, because people feel based on how people's interact in jobs and their previous bosses or whatever, they feel like they need to give more than is what is required. And especially you're in HR, I'm like, no, we don't need to. If you're only taking a day or, a two, right? Anything more than that, of course, you need to know. But anything more, no, I don't need to know all the extra details and, how many houses and, the toilet. No, don't need to know all that. Not needed. Right. So I kind of had to let him know what, this is the expectation. And going after that, we were good. We were good. So more self-awareness of communication styles equals stronger, more intentional leadership. You understand you can understand other people, and then you move accordingly, right? Third point, inspire and influence others with emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence people don't manipulate, they inspire and motivate, right? Which is why I asked you the question, how do people feel when they walk away from your presence? How do you feel when you walk away from certain conversations? Like, we've been meeting all this time. I hope that at the end of these conversations, you're like, a lot to think about. But me, or you're like, I'm energized. I got to go try this one out and this one, I got to go do that. Me, when I leave these kinds of conversations, because I'm talking about emotionless, I'm talking about something that I really care about. I be like, after I get off the call, I'm like, oh, I need to go run now because I got extra energy. So I need to go do, get rid of this energy, right? So so that tells me I love this stuff, right? So feel how you feel when you finish interacting or doing an activity. This will also let you figure out the stuff that calms you down or helps you. Those are the kind of things that you need to pay attention to so you can do more of them, right? Somebody said, what did she say? Somebody said, I haven't gone and played, like, walk and played in the sand or sat in the sand since I was a little girl. Do stuff that makes you happy. If you, oh, I have never gone to just sit down and, enjoy I was playing in the water at the lake when I was watching one of the videos of the lake house that I was at, and I was playing in the water. My foot was just kicking the water and I was just enjoying that. And I was like, man, I really love this. And it reminded me, I do love being around water, right? So that gives me life. And this reminds you that it kind of reminds you to just make sure you're feeding that little girl on the inside or little boy on the inside what they need so they can stay alive, right? Because this life can be really can kick you in a lot of different ways, right? So if you're not taking care of your inner self, then your outer self, it's going to show, right? That's why emotional intelligence is inside out, right? So emotional intelligence people influence and they lead with vision, with vulnerability, and with validation. So how do you feel after leaving any conversation, after you finish talking to that person? It kind of lets you know too, after you finish interacting with a guy and you think you're interested in him or he's interested in you, how do you feel after that conversation? How do you feel after, texting or talking or whatever? What does that energy feel like, right? So do your words as a leader, do your words build people up or do they shut them down? So if that person doesn't want to share, why don't they want to share? What is there in you that's making them feel uncomfortable? And it's not something wrong with you. It's just that that's not how their communication style speaks for them to open up, right? I had this girl that used to say, and to be honest with you, when I heard it, I was mad. I was mad, but it was one of my direct reports. And she said, mind you, I'm inside, I'm in the room talking, we're talking about, our weekly or monthly meetings we used to have. And I'm in front of the room and in the big room and everybody's spread out all over, like 15, 20 people. And she said, sometimes when she said, when you communicate, you speak with your hands. And I was like, yeah, because, I'm Hispanic, and we are very passionate about, or and if I'm passionate, I said, I'm plus, I love speaking with my hands. It's a Caribbean thing and whatnot. And she said, when you move with your hands, it makes me feel like you're coming at me. You know how mad I was? You know how mad I was? Because we were having some, listen to this. This is what people, I'm telling you, this is what people do. And this is why you can't really feed into it and take it personal, right? Emotional intelligence people don't take things personal, right? We just learn from the lesson and then we move accordingly. I remember that lesson, right? And then I know how to move with you going forward, right? Or, that's boundaries and whatnot. So we were, her manager, which reported to me, what was he doing? He was giving her a corrective action. And during her corrective action, which I was a part of the conversation, she decided she wanted to point that out because we were pointing out something with her discipline, her whatever that was going on with her. She decided to point out something else because she didn't want to focus on her and address her issues. She wanted to focus on, well, but you guys do this. You know what I mean? So she wanted like one up. And I said, we already know that was the energy she was going to come with, but we didn't know she was going to go there. I was like, I tell you, boy, listen here. And then so at that point in time, I quickly leaned in. I said, oh, yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. Right? I got ready. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that. You should have been said something that made you uncomfortable. The last thing I want to do is make you guys uncomfortable, you know? And she's like, oh, I just didn't. I said, well, next time say. I said, you're a part of the team, what and this is how it helped me. Like, you got to figure out what calms you down. When she said that, though I was mad on the inside, my voice changes. I said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Right? So in reality, I was calming myself down and telling yourself, it's okay. It's not personal. She's just lashing out of anger because you guys are writing her up. Right? So I had to quickly put that in check. Right? And remember that. So yeah, she said I learned to control my expression. Yeah, Michelle, sort of a form of tone of police. Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. I have to go to a weekly meeting. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Absolutely. So, the last thing we're going to cover here is I want you guys to write your statement. And I'll share with those that are in the class the words for the statement that I want you guys to share. Because I believe that how you show up as a leader is having it's having your leadership statement. Your leadership statement will decide, oh, I said I want to do this. This is how I want to act. And you read that, you have that in front of your computer as a leader every single day. That will remind you the promises that you made to yourself. Right? So I want you, that's what I want you to practice. I'm going to share that, the flow on how it looks, and I'll share that with you guys inside of the course. Email that to you guys today, right? It's not going to be it's going to be today, because your presence is powerful and your leadership is felt. And it's important that you remember how you show up, right? And in how you show up will determine the relationships that you have in your life. Right? That's what it will determine. So I will see you guys next week, Friday, for our last class. So for those that haven't taken the EQ assessment, take it. And for those that haven't, remember, we're going a step further. We're going to take those assessment questions and sharing it with someone that we know, like, and trust, so they can analyze you or ask you how their experience is of you with those same questions, right? So make sure that you guys take those, because I want to hear from you guys next week. I want to hear, how was it? How big of the gap it was? And you guys know I gave each of you your own individualized kind of like quick snapshot assessment and some things that you can do. I would really love to hear from you guys next week on that, and I'll share with your leadership affirmation thing, the flow, how that looks like, and we're gonna close out week 6 on a high note. We're gonna close out on a high note, and I'll share 1 or 2 more things, and that's it. It's quick, fast, and in a hurry, but I'm sure it's hopefully it added value to you guys, and I'll let you guys speak more on that after. So yeah, next week. So you guys have any questions? Anything else? Thank you guys for sharing today and engagement. Taylor, Sheba, Michelle, the person that's on the iPhone that hasn't told me who they are.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's me. I thought it said my name. It's Duranda.
No, it did not. Thank you.
I thought I renamed it. Oh my goodness, girl. I've been here. My bad.
I appreciate you. I need to see you guys. Can you guys come in and show your face next week? Like Zena and Michelle and Duranda has done. I want to see you guys' face and say hi, and maybe we can take a picture or something and keep this conversation going. So thank you guys. This was great.
Are we doing the same time next week?
Do you guys need me to do 10 again?
That would be
I
great.
don't want to be okay. All right. I'm
11
gonna make it work.
works better for me.
You can be extra.
11 works better for me.
Okay, so we're gonna do 10 again. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and whatever time zone you are in. So happy and proud of you guys. Thank you guys. I know you guys can't show up all week, but you guys go back and listen. So very good. I appreciate that. Oh, look at you guys' beautiful face. This is so cool. I can't take a picture now because Zena's gonna be so mad that we take a picture now and she's not here.
Next week.
So I'll see you guys next week for the last class. And for those that haven't, again, take your assessments and do the 360. Okay. If you guys have any questions, you guys know how to reach me later. Have a great Friday. Have a great
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Hey, you have a great
Bye.
weekend.
Guys'
Thank
love.
you. Bye.
All right, later.